Okay, so we are here at the Evergreen Community College pickleball court, and if you look close to this wall, Winston, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, there's a bunch of holes, circular holes in it, and then on the back, it's the same thing, same pattern.
So this wall is made out of metal
there's
sheets.
2 layers.
2 layers. It says metal sheet, and there's another layer in the back. Okay, so now.
So if you back up, you'll start to see some bigger holes in the same pattern.
Yeah. Some patterns.
You look at the background.
Yep.
And can we back up a bit more?
Yep. Yeah. The hole is there.
Yes. So if you move around, you can see that the holes seem to follow you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the holes are also forming the same
the
kind
same
of pattern
as the wall mesh.
Yeah. So
So
you can move closer.
it works because there's 2 sheets in the back. It looks smaller because of perspective.
Okay. So we talked about it, and we think that it might be either geometry, or it could be because of some light bending, light refraction when it goes around the holes. And that's what Anthony theory is. And so you're gonna do some what? Tell me.
I'm just gonna. It's not really a simulation. I don't know. It's like I'm gonna make the 2 plates. One is gonna be smaller, and yeah, I'm gonna write a program that simulates the 2 sheets. And yeah. So if it has something to do with the light bending, then it won't show up in the program. You won't see the holes, the blobs of light. But if it's just geometry, then you'll see the blobs of light.
Right now we're looking at the simulation I made right now. So it's just 2 like meshes on top of each other, and one is smaller than the other.
Okay. So you have one at 150 and one at 130. So the 130 is a little bit smaller. So that will simulate the one in the back, the layer in the back?
Yes, the layer in the back.
Okay. And so can you change some of the parameters and see how it looks?
Okay, so I'm gonna change this to 140. So you can see, oops, you can see now the holes are much bigger. The blobs are much bigger.
Okay, so this pretty much proves that it's the geometry.
Doesn't have anything to do with the light bending, because I didn't simulate that. You can still see
physics part, right? It's not physics. It's just geometry.
So the further apart the things are, the smaller the blobs, holes, thingies get.
Okay. So now here's a simulation of the holes, right? Of the grid or the mesh, right? And we're using a sine function to simulate that. So the 0 is when we hit the solid, right? And then the 1
is the hole.
Are the holes. So this is the one with 15 holes for every 2 pi. Every time it goes around the circle, it goes. The sine wave fluctuates 15 times, so 15 holes. Right? And if we do 13, then we're going to see that the holes are a little bit bigger, right? Let's say we do 5, we see the holes are a lot bigger, right?
Yep.
So if we lay them on top of each other, the big holes and the small hole, so this is the 15. And how do we simulate the two things laying on top of each other?
Oh yeah, because if it's just a normal hole, like if you put 2 holes next to each other, then it lets the same amount of light through as just one hole, because they're the exact same
And
hole.
if one hole lets in half and the other hole lets in half, and then you lay it on top of each other,
Then it only lets in like 25%,
okay.
1/4.
So you multiply them. And there you go. So you can see now every 2 pi, so this is roughly 6 point something. That's the 2 pi, right? You have 2 patterns. And if you have, instead of 13, you have 14, then you can see roughly every 2 pi, you have 1 pattern, right? So we should see the similar behavior. So do 13, you see 2. Should see the similar behavior on your thing. Okay. All right. So here we do. Let's do 140, and that's a light pattern, right? So now if we go down to 130, we should see double the number of blobs. There you go. It's double the number of blobs, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's
From
double.
side to side, right here, you see like almost 5, right? That's about 4.5. And you go to 140, you see like roughly over 2, like 2.25. Yeah? Right?
So the difference is 20. The difference between big and small is 20. So and if we simplify it, 15 to 13, we just look at the ratio instead of the number. Then difference is 2. So So here you can see 13 big holes and 15 small holes is same.
Like the gaps, not the steps, not the holes, right?
Steps. And if we go to the middle, 6.5, 7.5, and the difference is 1. So these line up, but it's like the middle part, not the hole. So if we go up by 0.5, then it's 7 and 8, and they almost line up. Or if you go down by 0.5, 6 and 7, and they also almost line up.
Okay.
So, and the difference is 2, right? So, and if you divide these by 2, you get 6.5 and 7.5.
Okay.
And it's, these two are always 1 apart.
Okay. So that pretty much means that right now what is the 6.5, 7.5? That's the what's the unit there?
Steps.
The number of steps?
6.5 big steps and 7.5 small.
So can we check?
Okay. So these are the small holes up at the top. So this middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's like around 7.5.